Hello, welcome to the Happy Yogini. My name is Jean. In today's video, we're going to stay low to the ground. This is a nice, gentle practice for the morning. It can be nice and calming throughout the day, so I hope that you enjoy it. I'm seated on a folded blanket. I'd recommend elevating the hips just a little bit. What this does is when you're in a seated posture, you sit to the edge of that blanket. It allows the pelvis to rock forward and the spine can actually stay upright in a much less muscular engaging fashion, so it's more comfortable to hold. So we'll start here in this comfortable seated position. However this looks for you, I want to remind you that anything that I say and offer is just that. It's an invitation, it's a suggestion. This is your practice, so if something doesn't feel right for you today or ever, then please don't do it. So we'll start in this comfortable seated position. Just checking in with the body. Checking in with the mind. And checking in with the breath. Remember that this is a breath-centered practice. The breath is always our guide, and we should never sacrifice breath for pose. Start to deepen the breath, smoothing out the edges. And just take note of how that feels. If you have your eyes closed, gently blink them open. And we'll begin with some arm movements. On an inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands move back down towards the floor. 2 more times on your own. With your own breath. Allowing the breath to initiate this movement. Even if it's just by like a tiny little split second. This time we'll inhale the arms up, and as we exhale, we'll twist to the right. Right hand drops behind you, left hand in front of you. Inhale, back up, coming back up through center. Exhale to the left. Same thing. Inhale up through center. Exhale to the right. Inhale up through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale up through center, and this time as you find yourself on the right, pause for just a couple of breaths. Gentle twist. Inhale, arms reach up, move back through center, exhale to the left. And inhale, back up through center, exhale, arms make their way down. If you're sitting on something, you might want to go ahead and move that now. Bring your hands behind you, feet are flat on the floor in front of you. And then take your right ankle, cross it over the front of your left thigh. Press into the palms to lift the heart so we're not collapsing here. This might be your posture, this like seated figure 8. If you need a little bit more sensation in that outer right hip, step the left foot back some. You can also start to move your right knee away from you. And then explore here either staying static like so, or even rocking back and forth. Kind of flossing, loosening some things up. Just Just noticing how that feels, if there's any difference shortly after we get started. And then if you're moving, come to stillness and allow the legs to fall to the left. Push into that left shoulder to lift the left side of the chest. A little bit of a awkward twist here. Inhale, and as you exhale, bring it all back up to center. Uncross the legs, and when you're ready, left leg crosses over the right. Keep the foot flexed here. Again, you can have your right foot in the same spot. You can start to move it back a little bit. These hip type movements, postures, are so good for noticing how different and asymmetrical the body is, which is totally normal. It's always one that's a little bit different than the other, or else they're different from each other. And then if you're rocking, come to stillness, allow the legs to fall to the right. Push through that right shoulder, right arm, just to help twist a little bit more to the left. No forcing, just letting things be as they are. Inhale. As you exhale, the belly starts to pull in, knees come back up, uncross the legs, step the feet a little bit wider than hip distance, and take some windshield wipers, just kind of stretching that out. Maybe there's some movement needed because it can be a little bit intense. And when you are good and even out, we're going to make our way into a tabletop position. So we'll activate this tabletop position first. So really press through the palms. Let that come up from the shoulders though, not just like down in the hands. Keep the fingers, hips spread wide. Really push through the arms into the palms. Notice we get this space created between the shoulder blades. Then press the tops of the feet, the shins into the floor. Maybe you feel a little bit of core activation here. Think about reaching through the crown of the head, through the tailbone. Again, quite an active pose here. And then when you're ready, we'll move through some rounds of cat-cow. On the inhale, belly drops, heart shifts forward, gaze lifts, tailbone lifts. As you exhale, pull the belly in, let the pelvis drop, the head drops and is heavy. Push through the palms. Inhale to cow. Exhale, cat. Move through at your own pace, your own breath. Again, allowing breath to initiate movement and movement to last the entire duration of the breath. You do 2 or so more rounds. We'll meet back in a neutral spine tabletop. Once again, bring all that activation to your tabletop. And then step the right toes back behind you on the mat. Toes are on the floor. And start to rock forward and back, kind of lacing out, or flossing out rather, the back of that right leg. And then come to stillness, step the right toes off the left side of the mat, turn to look over the left shoulder towards that left foot. Right side body stretch. Notice how the breath feels as it enters the right side of the body. There's more space, and on the left side we have this contraction. Just notice. And then when you're ready, bring it all back to center. Step the left foot back behind you and start to do that rocking motion forward and back. And come to step the left foot off the right side of the mat. Turn to look over the right shoulder towards that left foot. Again, acknowledging the difference between the two sides of the body. And then bring it all back to center. Step your right foot forward in between the hands. Walk the right toes a little bit more forward. And then allow the hips, the pelvis to be heavy. I don't have any blocks here today, but if you need the floor a little bit closer, you can always rise up on a couple of blocks or block-like objects. But here we're looking at getting into the front of this left thigh, into this left hip flexor. Notice if you're gripping anywhere you don't have to. See if you can just let gravity bring you into this pose. And then start to walk the right foot back just a little bit. Inhale, bring your right hand to your right thigh. Left hand will be on the floor or a block. And as you exhale, just press into the right thigh to open the chest towards the right. Nice gentle spinal twist, stretch. And when you're ready on an exhale, unwind, release that. Tuck the back toes and start to shift the hips back, coming up onto the heel of the right foot. Really pull those toes back towards your face. Again, hands can be on blocks or the floor. This is half splits. Getting into the back of this right thigh here. And then work it all back forward. Step that right foot back. And then when you're ready, left foot forward. Again, maybe working the toes a little bit further in front of where they'd normally be. Top of the right foot on the floor. And allow the pelvis, the hips to be heavy. These are just such good stretches for the morning time. Gentle, but just really help to work out the tightness that has accumulated overnight. And then if you walked that left foot forward a little bit, scoot it back just a tiny bit. Right hand can be on the floor or a block. Inhale, bring the left hand to the left thigh. As you exhale, push into the left thigh to twist to the left. And then on an exhale, slowly unwind, tuck the back toes, start to shift the hips back, come up onto the heel of the left foot, pull those toes back towards your face. This is really going to intensify the sensation on the back of the leg. Half splits. And then as you're ready, walking hands back forward, left foot comes down to the floor, step that left leg back. And then maybe a few rounds of cat-cow or any other movements your body might be calling for. So that could be some hip rotations or some barrel rolls. Maybe pull back to a child's pose. 2 or 3 more rounds. Making your way back to stillness. And then tuck the back toes, inhale here, and as you exhale, lift the knees up off of the floor, just an inch or so. Inhale here, and as you exhale, hips up and back for downward facing dog. This is as high as we're gonna go. Looks like my dog wants to see what's going on. Maybe pedal out the feet here, bring some movement into this downward facing dog. Really press through the palms, side body stretch. And then bring the knees down to the floor and come to sitting back down. I'm gonna actually bring this blanket back over here with me, unfold it one time, just a little bit of extra padding. All right, extend the legs long in front of you. Bend the right knee, bring it into the chest, and allow the right knee to fall out to the right, so the sole of the right foot is on the inside of the left thigh. On an inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold forward any amount. Hands can come anywhere. They don't need to come all the way to the foot. They can come onto the floor, onto the shin. It doesn't matter. If you really want a little bit more sensation and you can't reach, you can also take a strap or a belt. With each inhale, maybe finding a little bit more length along the spine. With each exhale, maybe you find you can move a little bit deeper into the pose. And if not, that's totally okay too. And on an inhale, start to walk your way back up. Take your hand to the outside of that right thigh, bring it back up to center, then step the right foot over the left leg. Inhale to get nice and tall. Bring your right hand behind you, and as you exhale, twist to your right. This twist is coming from the upper spine, core and upper spine. Keep the left toes flexed, left foot active. One more breath. And then as you exhale, slowly start to unwind. Straighten that right leg alongside the left, wiggle things out a little bit, and then when you're ready, bend the left knee, bring it into the chest. Left knee falls out to the side. Right foot is active, toes pulled back. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Again, any amount, and it's probably going to be different than the other side. Each inhale, a little bit more space and length. Each exhale, maybe a little deeper. And then as you're ready, start to push your chest up away from the leg. Left hand to the outside of the left thigh, bring it back up to center, and then step the left leg over the right thigh. And your left hand behind you, inhale to get nice and tall, exhale, twist. Again, right foot is active here. We're not forcing anything. We're using the thigh just for a little bit of leverage to help stabilize us. exhale, slowly start to unwind. Bring that left leg back out in front of you. Wiggle them out if they need a little bit of wiggling. And then bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet together for a bound angle. So the heels can be as close to the inner thighs or as far away as you would like. The further in they are, you're going to get a little more of an inner thigh stretch. The further away they are, the more of a fold you can get. So inhale to get nice and tall, and as you exhale, start to fold forward, allowing the spine to roll, the chin to tuck. Two more breaths here. And then on an inhale, start to push your chest up away from your legs. Take your hands, bring the outside of your thighs, lift them back up so they meet in center, and start to make your way onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest. Give them a nice hug, a little squeeze, maybe a little bit of rolling around and rocking. And if there are any other postures that your body is asking for that you would like to take, go ahead and take that now. If you have some time, I'd highly encourage you to set up for a Shavasana of your choice. It doesn't have to be lying flat on your back. It can look like anything as long as it's comfortable. I'm going to hold this space for about 5 minutes or so, and I will sound a singing bowl at the end. So you can at that point get up, or you can stay longer, whatever feels right for you in that moment. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, it is such an honor and a pleasure. Until next time.